Welcome back, World Wide Web, to the Hangin' With Web Show. I'm GW Pomichter. Thank you so much for logging on, tuning in, clicking links, or going through social media. However you found yourself in the seedy part of town, we're happy you're here. Now hit subscribe so you can get here on purpose next time. And we are at Space Coast Book Lovers in Cape Canaveral, Florida in 2019, and we are Hangin' With Web Show alumnus, author, all-around adventure lover, Linda Zern. We are here with Zippity Zerns. Okay, guys. Wow.
I know.
What an amazing journey.
Like this is very nice because this is not what I remember from the first interview.
A curtain hung on two chairs.
You had a phone?
Yes, and a phone. And but you know, that has been such an amazing part of the journey. We were talking the first time we had Beyond the Strandline.
I think
remember
that, yeah, maybe,
with the old cover. By the way, brand new covers here.
New cover.
That's right.
Fancy.
You know, Linda and I, we talk about writing and rewriting and looking at your stock all the time. And guys, we want to let you know, if you're a creative writer and you're an indie author, a small press publisher, don't be afraid to go back and look at your older work.
Yes.
Make some tweaks. You can tweak it inside, cover designs.
Absolutely.
The beauty of being an independent creator today is that we have the freedom to go back and say, hey, I'm better now than I was when I started.
Yes.
And so fix those things up and have fun with it.
Yeah.
And look, you don't have, it doesn't have to be all consuming, because look, while she was tweaking this, she still managed to get all of this stuff going here. So we were talking Beyond the Strandline last time, and look at the body of work.
I know.
And it's amazing.
And being independent it's exactly what you said. Launch, relaunch, take it off, put it down, stack it up, whatever. It is your deal.
That's
and
right.
I love that. I love the control. I love I love to be the queen. So I'm the queen.
Amen to that. You know, our very first interview, all those years ago, we talked, we were at the precipice of something amazing.
It really was.
And we talked about how this was a revolution in creative arts. And since we've expanded the show and we've gone and we've done artists and filmmakers and musicians, and we've seen, this is such what an amazing time to live in.
I know it.
And to be an artist in this time.
Well, I remember we talked about, you know, this is the Gutenberg printing press.
Yes.
And we're here, and nobody knows really how it's supposed to work, and I think that's a great thing.
Someday,
there are no rules, really.
There are no rules.
Well,
someday, you know,
maybe.
You know, the young people that are coming into the arts or whatever are gonna, they just take it for granted. Like you know. And we're gonna be. Linda and I are going to be the ones sitting there going, well, I remember when we did that. We helped do that.
I do that already.
To bring that, you know, revolution to life.
No, it's true. And you dive in, and sometimes it's published, not perfect, and you wait for perfection, and good luck on that.
Amen to that.
Because that's not going to happen.
Creative writing, guys. Write, rewrite, repeat. Then
rinse, repeat.
Let simmer. You have to let it simmer, because the more we write, we become better writers.
Yes.
The more we edit, we become better editors.
But that's not just true of indie authors. I have been in master classes with traditionally published authors who will confess that they will do readings, and they'll have their book and they'll be reading and they'll go, oh God, why did I pick that word?
Yeah.
You know, so it's not just us, and I think that's important to understand. Even traditionally published authors who have editors and all the whole machine behind them, they do the same thing.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, it's part of the creative artist's journey to grow and to become a better artist as you go. And what's great about the indie journey is that at any moment when we notice, we can go back.
Yes.
We don't have 14 lawyers that we have to call to go back. You go online and
so this book right here, I had actually was done with a kind of a small press, traditionally published, and the cover was not good. It was not the best, and I've been able to go back and redo, and my vision for it has come to life. Thank you.
Yes.
And so this is just a little. This is
now
the
this
first
is,
book.
we haven't talked about this.
This is the first book I ever wrote.
Wow.
And I tutor dyslexic children, so I have bigger font, which is really good for kids who
Yes.
struggle. And it's kind of an introduction to foreign language.
I don't know, it's pretty good for old people to struggle too. Just saying.
The fairies have their own vocabulary, and they call things differently than we would, of course, because fairies are real, and they have their own language. So chance luck is good or bad fortune. So there's a glossary in the back, and
Nice.
it's a great read aloud for little kids, and it's a great book for smart kids. I write for smart people. Is that wrong?
No. That because all of you should be smart people. Work on that.
It's
Every day,
important.
wake up in the morning and strive for that.
Yes, I think. You said it though. We are trying to get to a better and higher and more.
It
and
is.
It's happening.
Science can go back and tell us so much about the human animal.
Yes.
Where we come from and how we've come. But we live truly in an information age,
Yes.
in a technological age. And so human evolution is not so much about what we look like anymore. It's about how we think.
It's our brain and
That's
how we
right.
process and what we can process.
And what we hold on to, what we
Yes.
value. When
Yes.
we talked about Strandline originally, and we
Yep.
talked about my book Yesterday's Tomorrow together, and we talked about the idea that strip it all away.
Oh my
and
gosh.
what's left?
Family,
family.
community, connection, having each other's back.
Humanity.
And that is a very interesting topic,
And
especially in the day and time we live in.
Amen to that. The more complex we get, sometimes
Oh,
it
yeah.
seems the further
Yeah.
we get from what's in our minds
For sure.
and in our hearts. And it's important to be reminded of that. And that is, one of the things we love to talk about with our artists is that's the artist's job.
Yes.
We would like to think that it's the politicians and the leaders and these people that make these rules and whatever, but really they have to be inspired to do that.
I agree.
And inspiration comes
Or
from
reminded.
Yes.
Be reminded of what truly matters in the end.
And the arts that's our job.
Yeah.
Our whole job
You
is
bet.
to point things out in sometimes uncomfortable,
Yeah.
sometimes non-threatening, but to point things out in ways that make people go,
Right.
That's right. And so, beyond the Strandline, following the Strandline, do you have another one coming?
Yes, Healing the Strandline will be next.
Yes.
It's done. It's in editing, and that is pretty topical in that they have coalesced in a single place, and they're attempting to create a civilization. And who do you let in? What are the rules for letting people in? Where do you keep them before you let them in? How do we, disease, everything in this world, it's a throwback. It's really the Middle Ages again. And then all of a sudden we have all of these diseases that we have not had to think about or deal with in hundreds of years. And now you're going to have to deal with it. How are you going to deal with it? So it's pretty topical.
It is, really. I remember many, many years ago hearing a poem or a fable or a joke. I actually don't know. I remember the punchline was a little child saying that when they got to heaven, they wanted to be the one that drew the lines on the earth.
Ah.
And I thought to myself,
That's really sweet.
It was a very innocent and naive statement.
Yes.
And the beauty of it is
Yes.
when you're an adult and you get older, you realize nobody draws the lines on the earth except for us.
Yeah.
We put
And
barriers
how do you
between
do that?
each other.
And how do you do that? And how do you protect this unit and still be compassionate and still
And because there's
yes.
so much today,
Yes.
we focus so much on the lines on the map
Yep.
that we forget that we're drawing lines between
Sure.
people.
Sure.
And there are a set of whys and wherefores. There are illnesses and diseases
Sure.
and there is good and bad but the reality becomes it's not about the line between people, it's about changing what's good and bad.
And hopefully
yes.
incorporating that so that it is a healthy, viable world.
And Strandline is a great example because it's about building a community better than the one we came from.
Right. And that
We
is
can do
yeah.
better. And
Yeah.
and
Well,
look
you'd like
around
to
the
hope
world.
so, wouldn't you?
Yes, you would. I would.
I'm hoping.
There are 7 billion of us, And you got to think we got
I don't know.
7 billion of us. We got here somehow, and hopefully every time we get a little better. And I did statistically online, although we do talk about a lot of divisions. I was watching a series, and I noticed, statistically speaking, did you all know there has never been a better time in
Yes.
the history of the world
Yes.
to be a human being?
Yes.
That we have less
Yes.
disease, less. We
Right.
see the wars on CNN, but
Right.
there are less of them than
Right.
there were. It's a great time to be a human being.
And so think about the power of perception. Just what is it that we're perceiving? Because if you went out into the hall, you would ask, everyone what they thought about that, and they'd probably go, 2 thumbs down. But in reality, it's not.
It's not at all.
We are doing not too shabby.
That's right. And the very notion that we can sit as artists and have a
Right.
discussion about how we can do better.
Right.
When you're already the apex of your
Right.
culture,
Oh my
and you're
gosh.
saying, how can we do better?
Right.
What a vital and important
Right.
question. What a next step to the next person, whatever
Right.
that is.
I know.
And so we've got Gryphon's Glade.
Yes.
And
This is-
we talked a little bit about the last time.
This is magical realism. I don't even know what that is, but that's what Amazon says it is.
Magical
Okay.
realism.
Magical realism. This is
What do we got here?
This is inspirational. This is a book that I did all of the artwork for. I didn't know I could do, and
You did all this?
I drew these pictures myself.
Wow.
So what do you think?
That's awesome. Oh wait, what is this here? I've seen this one,
This
but I
one,
don't know.
MOONCALF, is
Yeah.
also one of my early books. This is a historical fiction, and
Wow.
it's set in the little town that I grew up in Central Florida. It's also about racism and also very topical and living during the days of segregation, which I did. And then this little book right here, grab onto that.
This one here?
That one right here.
Oh, this one. Okay.
This is a collection of the short story prequels that go with the Strandline series. These are short reads on Amazon, and you can only get them on Kindle. They're in this little book, so it's sort
What's
of a
great
little
about that is, in the modern vernacular, as we consume media at the rapid pace that we do
Right.
today, this is the equivalent of the author's
Super-
notes. This
yes.
is where
Yes.
these came from.
Yeah.
Follow the journey and the
Yeah.
evolution of a story.
And I think what's different about Strandline, and that's important, I do festivals with other prepper authors, and mine are different in the sense that it's from the perspective of young adults and teens and children, which get a little overlooked sometimes, I think, in our zombie-laden
Oh
world.
yes, for some reasons, very few children survive the zombie apocalypse.
They don't. There are no
They don't.
babies.
The
Have
baby-
you noticed that?
Yeah.
There are no babies.
I watched a
if I saw
sci-fi.
a zombie baby, I would die.
Oh, there was a sci-fi. After Walking Dead became so popular,
I was so scared.
the Sci-Fi Channel did a series called, I forgot what it was called now. It was their version of the Walking Dead series, kind of, and they did a series. And in like episode 2,
Oh, I remember it, but don't ask me the name because I won't be able to
I don't
remember. But
either.
I know what you're talking about. Okay, go.
but in like episode 2 of that series, they were going through like clearing a building looking for zombies. And there was a zombie baby crawling on the floor.
No.
I'm
out.
It was because you don't know. There's
I'm
like
out.
a piece of you that's all protective because it's a baby, but it's a zombie baby and it's
No.
trying to eat you.
No,
it's worse than a Chucky doll. Because it
is!
is.
Oh my
Because
gosh.
the part of you inside, there's like that paternal, maternal part that's like, oh, it's a baby. Oh my God, it wants to eat me. That is so creepy. And
It is very creepy.
I don't honestly, at that time, I wasn't looking at zombie stories the same way I do now. And so I wasn't a big fan at all. And I'm not still a huge fan. But that moment, of all that series, which I wasn't enamored with, that moment stuck with me because it was
Right?
weird. And zombie baby, bad idea. Because they have they're just babies.
They're
and they
almost
just,
zombies normally.
True. That's actually that's a valid statement. They sleep, they eat,
They'll bite you if they can.
Yes. That's why babies don't have teeth, because it's dangerous for us.
Exactly.
It is. So, yeah. We talked originally, and you and I both set out to do a kind of apocalyptic world that
Right.
wasn't centered around
Right.
those monsters and
Right.
legends. And yeah, I at that time I was very reticent about those things, and now I realize, you know, the scariest monster out there is the zombie, and as I get older, I realize this because we are living a zombie apocalypse.
Yes.
Because the zombie doesn't represent the outsider or the thing
No.
beyond the firelight. It's simply
Right.
death. It's coming for you no
Yes.
matter what you do.
It's-
Run fast,
Right.
walk slow, whatever. It's coming for you, and that tends to. And as we get older, we're trying to remember
know.
that bastard is right behind me, and I don't want to know
and
nothing.
I knew him.
Yeah, really.
I knew that
It was
guy.
frightening. Yeah. We probably hung out together in high school, and she's gonna flash and wave that at us like, you think we're listening to you? Not you on YouTube. We're listening to you. Leave comments. Okay, we have to hang up on this particular interview because we're having way too much fun and giggling too much. So we're going to say thank you to our partners at Krypton Radio, Hearts Helping Others of Central Florida, the Foxwood Wine Company, Embellish Effects, the Cogler Emporium, Josh Bauer at J. Bauer Art, Indie Originals Live, Space Coast Comics, and our great friends over at Famous Faces and Funnies. Thank you guys for sharing these videos on the World Wide Web. Thank you for watching. Keep sharing these artists, authors, filmmakers, musicians, creative minds.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. What
It
a
helps.
power.
It helps. Everything helps. If you read an indie book, a small press book, do me a favor, leave some stars.
Leave some stars.
You know what? We can't, as artists, we can't really afford peanut butter and jelly, but we will eat stars.
We do.
Leave us some stars.
We do. They make us happy.
They do. We're like little kids. You give us a star on our homework, we like the stars. So, guys, we've been hanging out with Linda Zern at the Space Coast Book Lovers event all weekend long. Thank you guys for tuning in. Remember, keep tuning in, keep logging on, and see who we're hanging with next. Awesome. Thank you so much.